And they went ahead and did it. My son, he's like, I don't want to take the class.
It's usually the opposite. Usually the boys want there.
He was smarter than anybody else.
You know
He
what?
waited till the
Aaron went back and
18th,
forth.
and all you had to do was walk.
There's gonna be an interesting transition we do today, and I'm saying interesting because I've never done it until yesterday, and I want you to have a visual before you get in it. Because you're not gonna be able to turn to look at me to see what's happening. Eventually, we're gonna be moving into half moon, but you know, you can use a block to roll open. The most important piece of this is you don't want the block too close or in front of the foot. You want it ahead of the foot to the outside of the pinky toe so that when it's time to roll open, you're gonna have better balance. Okay, so it's a critical piece, but also this distance between the block and the foot is gonna create the links that you need here in your torso. So at some point, I'll say, if you can grab your foot, grab your foot. If you can't, please don't fight or struggle to find it. It's not worth it. It's just a pose. All right, and then we're gonna transition coming out and in to this variation of Padangusthasana C. Maybe you've done it with another teacher. I've never taught that before. I was just getting creative yesterday and I thought, ooh, that's fun. So if you want to join me in that, you can. If you want to step that back foot down to the floor, square your hips in Tadasana and then lift the knee and fold, that's fine too. So you can transition however you like. All right, so I think we're ready. I think I started that. Did I start that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a little frazzled because last week after I taught here, I rushed home to North Carolina because my dad is a stroke victim from 2019. He's been at home for 3.5 years. His right side is mostly paralyzed, even though he could still somewhat shuffle to the bathroom at least, which was obviously very helpful for my mother to at least not have to deal with that aspect of it. And his hip broke about a month ago. And so he's been in a rehab center and he's had one setback after another. His blood pressure spiked and bottoming, finding out that he had a lot of pain that was a blood clot to getting bed sores when he shouldn't have had bed sores. They weren't turning him properly. And so he had massive bed sores on his heels of his feet and his bottom. So it's been pretty brutal. Basically, I went home last week to assess the matter, obviously to see him in case his health was in great decline, but also to be an advocate for him because he can't speak. And my mom is with him 24 hours a day. My sisters that live in the town will at least come every other, well, they go every day, but every other day my mom will at least drive home, which is only 2 miles away from the hospital, to take a bath, to change clothes, and then she comes right back. So it's one of those situations. It's been really hard, and it all is coming into our story for lesson plan for today. So it was really hard for me because I'm the youngest, and my voice never gets heard. And I'm very different than my family, so they never really, put a lot of weight on things that I have to say or opinions that I have, much less anything energetic or, spiritual by any means, because they're so religious and dogmatic in their viewpoints. But anyway, so I show up and he wasn't getting up, he wasn't walking, my mom's doing everything for him. The PT guy said he didn't see him being able to walk in the next 3 weeks, that insurance will cover before he could go home. So I had to sit and have a very hard conversation with my mother and my sister, like, we need to start a new conversation. I don't know if he could be able to go back home. The PT's not being very positive or hopeful about this. What are we gonna do? It's only 3 weeks away, And mom's like, he's coming home with me. She's just bound and determined. She has a friend who has one of these machines that will lift a person up, and she thinks she can handle it, and she's 76. And she's very healthy, but it frightens me to think that she's gonna take this big machine home and try to manhandle him when it's dead weight. So anyway, I literally had that hard conversation with my mom and my sister. And then when they left, the hospital room, I was able to crawl up into my dad's bed, kind of get in space, and be like, okay, Dad, like, let's have a talk. Like, do you really want to walk again? And he said yes. I was like, well, if you really want to walk again, you have to do some of your healing from the inside. It requires you to be an active participant in this. You have to be willing, and you have to put forth some effort. And you're not putting in a lot of effort right now. And I'm like, and that's okay too. If you're ready to give up, if you're ready to surrender, because I realize you feel like your body's broken, that's okay too. Are you scared to die? No one wants to talk like this to anyone.
Yeah.
And I was holding back all my tears because I was trying to be the brave one and be courageous enough to put it to him like that. And, you know, he didn't really cry or anything, but he shook his head. And I was like, you know, you don't have to be scared of this. I've studied a lot of near-death experiences. I work with people who are able to go to the other side. It's loving, it's peaceful. And I started, he used to be a preacher, a Southern gospel preacher. So I started sharing with him like biblical things of like what heaven would be like. And I'm like, this is where you'd be going. So either way, you're good, you're good. You can give up and go home to God, or you can pull up the wheel and get better and start to heal yourself and go home with mom. But you're gonna have to make a choice, and we can't make that choice for you. Then he started to cry. But the next day he walked down the hallway and back.
You needed to.
So I don't know if it was because of what I shared with him, like, or if it was just him getting the energy. But then I discovered today he's getting a scope, or I don't know what it's called, to check to see if he has any diseases, because he's been bleeding a lot. Or not a lot, but bleeding. So it continues.
Yeah.
But my point in sharing this story with you, and the point of bringing this home to yoga is, yoga truly is psychology. Yoga's basis is in energy. And we have to go to the source, the root of whatever's showing up physically in our body. Yes, he's had some bad things that happen to his body to break it down, but any one of us could develop a pain or an issue in our physical bodies. Yesterday on Father's Day, I was teaching, and I've never had this happen in 20 years of teaching. My boyfriend was in the class. His back had given out last week when he was picking up something heavy, and he had nursed it back to health. And he mentioned before he went to yoga, I hope you don't do anything today in yoga that's going to take out my back. He landed on the floor and couldn't get up for over an hour. But do you see what he was telling himself before he even came to class?
Yeah.
It was almost like he was setting it up. You can't tell him that, right? You know, but it was almost like he was setting it up. But you know what the muscle is? The iliopsoas muscle. The most deeply embedded muscle. The one that goes back to trauma. The one that goes back to emotion. The one that goes back to our foundation. The one that goes back to, are we able to adapt and change? Are we able to surrender to the divine? So I can see very clearly it's this muscle and these are the issues. Here you go. Here's the chakra lesson. Here's the energetic anatomy. Here's the yoga piece. Take it or leave it. This is what you're working with right now. So hard. Okay, continue. And then this all comes back to yoga, and I promise you're going to move and breathe. So we're sitting in the hospital room, and my other sister comes in, who went through breast cancer last year, and she's like, please massage my left shoulder. Her tumor was on her left side. All the radiation was on her left side. So she's good. You know, she's taking chemo pills, but she's done all the surgery. She's done all the major stuff. And I'm sitting doing her shoulder, and it's crunchy, 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 gnarly stuff. And it's all fascia based. And I'm like, you know, this is where we make emotional deposits from emotional distress. This is what is the beginning causes of fibromyalgia. So it's life and stress showing up in your body. This is all related back to the same stuff that developed your breast cancer. It's the same side. It's heart chakra stuff. Study the heart chakra. You know, and I'm like rubbing on, and my mom actually listens to this. And she's like, huh, why do I have this cold sore? And I'm like, Mom, that's throat chakra. That's about speaking up for yourself. That's about communication. that's your stress in communicating with the staff right now, and you having to be dad's voice because he can't talk. And that's what's coming up. A lot of examples to give you today. It all goes back to energy. It all goes back to emotions. And that's what we're doing here. It's not just moving the body and, creating pretty poses. There's so much more to it. And the last thing I'm going to say is there's something called neuroplasticity. And it's a science. And it's the science on how to rewire and reprogram the mind. And so that's what I was trying to do with my dad, like kick something into gear for him. You can decide, but decide one way or the other. So that's what I was trying to do without saying neuroplasticity. But that's what we're doing every time we come to the mat. When I say affirmations, you recite the affirmations, you're helping to reprogram and rewire your mind from those negative thinking patterns. There's a point in all this. The reason why I don't play top 40 music like a lot of other yoga people do is because where's the energy behind that song? What is the message behind that song? So I try to only play instrumental music or mantra music that's going to help feed good energy and support the practice that we're doing here. So that you're not just singing Coldplay in your head or something like that. Even though Coldplay is great, All right, we're gonna start the child's pose. So on the shins and feet, you're welcome to outstretch your arms, bow forward and down so that your head is touching down. If you need a headrest, you're welcome to cross your arms or to side your hands to provide that. I'm actually going to be playing an instrumental meditation album today from a local artist and guitar player, Tom Mason. So now that you're doubled over in Balasana, I want you to drop into your body, feel the weight in your shins, the stretch in your ankles, penetration at your brow. Close and rest your eyes. Begin developing your deep yogic breaths. Breathing in and out through the nose. Take command over the breath. You're trying to increase that intake of oxygen into your lungs, knowing that it's also bringing life force energy with it. It's energy that gives us creative juices. It's energy that helps to animate the body, give expression to the face, and allow for the inner workings of our own mind. Let the breath help tap you into the infinite part of yourself within. Be guided by spirit instead of the ego. And then gently start to lift the face up. Extend your arms out in front of you. Rock up to hands and knees, and immediately step the right foot forward and up in between your hands. When you step that right foot forward and lunge into that front knee, make sure it doesn't surpass your ankle. If it does, walk the foot more ahead. Drop and sink through your hips, through the pelvic floor. Look at that knee. Make sure it's pointed towards the center of the foot, stacked precisely over the ankle. As you're dipping down through your back thigh, this is starting to stretch and open up that iliopsoas muscle. What seized up on my boyfriend yesterday. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. According to science, they are now showing how this particular muscle
also regards whether or not we go into fight, flight, or freeze. All right, let's tuck the back toes under. And as you tuck the back toes under, push into that left foot. So you're noticing the weight coming away from your back knee. You're feeling the definition and the contraction of the quads on the back leg. Feel free to stack on your fist if it's too much for your wrist. All right, now begin to lift the toes away from the floor and point them upward. Let it stay suspended in the air. Feel the stretch in the quads now. And plant your left hand. Take the right arm up. Take a spinal twist and reach the right arm back behind you. And you can stay as you are, or you can see if you can possibly take a hold of the back foot. All right, don't strain or struggle. So we don't want to cramp, okay? And if you get a cramp, come out, work it out before you re-enter. Good, now release the back foot, bring the right hand back around to frame it, curl the back toes under, pluck up that back knee, and we're gonna rock forward and back. So rock forward and back. Inhale forward, exhale pushing into the back calf and heel. Inhale forward, and then exhale back. Good. Plant your palms. Step your right foot to downward facing dog. Sink low through the heels of the feet. Roll your thigh bones in and power them towards the back wall. And then inhale, fly up more onto the toes, elevating the heels up the air. And then exhale, rock the heels back down towards the floor. Inhale, lift high up to the toes again. Exhale, come down to your knees. Untuck the feet and step the left foot forward and up between the hands. All right, we're just kind of warming up here. Stacking that front knee with precision over the ankle. You can be on your palms, your fingertips, or fist. Once you correct the alignment, be here, breathe here. You want to feel as though there's a split occurring from the front knee to the back knee. In other words, we don't want the right hip stacked over the back knee. So this is creating that hip extension. That iliopsoas muscle wraps around the front of the hip. It moves deep into the abdominal section of the body and then attaches to the low lumbar area of the back. So right when he went down, he was like, it's my back. And then he realized it's not my back. There's another point that it's stemming from. And he started rubbing his hip. And I'm like, is it the iliopsoas? And through trial and error of trying to get him off the floor, is how we figured out it was this muscle. All right, curl the back toes under and push into that back foot. Notice the weight comes away from the back knee. It should barely be resting on the floor. Contracting the quads, and then pointing the foot, lifting it in midair, and then planting the right hand, extending the left arm forward, clock working it up towards the ceiling, and then trailing it behind your back, and maybe catching that foot if it's available. So just to realize this whole idea of mustering up the willpower, it's not forcing yourself to do anything physically on the mat. Okay, this is more of a mindset. One more deep breath. Exhale, let's release the back foot, bring that left hand back around, come into this low lunge. Once you pluck up the back knee, you're gonna rock forward on the inhale and rock back on the exhale. You're staying in the lunge, just rocking forward and back, tipping your weight forward, and then back into your calf and heel. Good. Now reestablish downward facing dog. And from Adho Mukha Svanasana, splay your fingers wide open. Slightly dial your hands away from each other and notice how it changes up your upper arm
our bones. How they roll out, how there's more space between the ears and the shoulders, more space between the shoulder blades. Hug the belly in, press into the balls of the feet. That section right above the arches of the feet. Let your head hang between the arms, and then affirm mentally within. Calmness is beginning to radiate throughout every cell and fiber of my being. On your next inhale, lift up through the hips. Exhale, descend your knees. We're coming to tabletop position. You may need to walk your hands back so the wrists are below the inside of the shoulder bones. As you inhale, stretch your right leg back behind you. Now it's going to be your choice here whether or not you want to create a back bend. If you want to create a back bend, the right foot will lift and the head will lift so the back will sway. But you could also structure yourself so you're adding in the core work here and keeping the head in line with the back heel and tailbone. All right, yogi's choice there. Exhale, we are going to contract and curl like cat stretch as the nose and knee come towards each other below. Inhale, extend with core strong or back bend, yogi's choice. Exhale, curl it. Continue this 3 more rounds. Love hearing the breath. That Ujjayi breath is perfect for this sequence. All right, next time you extend the right leg, line it up. Shift your left foot over to the left side. Roll open into your modified side plank. Anchor your left foot. Anchor your left hand. You can choose to be here, or you can take that right foot with your right hand behind your back. Rolling open with your right shoulder, balance and breathe. As you exhale, release, cautiously reset tabletop and bring that left foot back to your mat. Okay, here we go, second side. Inhale, extend your left leg. Your choice whether to sway the back or to keep the core engaged the whole time. Exhale, round the back, nose towards knee, no intention to touch. And then continue. The next time you extend the left leg, shift the right foot over, roll open, flying the left arm skyward. Affirming as I move through life, I stay anchored in myself. Maybe see if you can catch that left foot behind your back. This is kind of our warm up for the transition I demonstrated earlier. Exhale, release, tabletop. Walk your hands a baby step beyond, reset the shins and feet to curl the toes, launching up and back to downward facing dog. From here, let's go ahead and walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. When you arrive to the top of the mat, fold and hinge down, Uttanasana, opening the back of the legs, increasing the space in the low back, allowing the circulation and energy to flow towards the pineal and pituitary glands in the head. Slow, deep breathing, affirming mentally to yourself, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Neuroplasticity, there's no excuses for the mind to even hold us back.
Inhale, root down to the soles of the feet, sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Coming to Urdhva Hastasana at the top. And if you want to go to upward worship, feel free, bringing the palms together overhead, gazing up towards your hands. And then exhale, we're going to get into the flow now. Hinge forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, slide your hands up your leg bones, lengthen out through the vertebrae, look out with your eyes. Exhale, gently release. Inhale, we're going to take plank, stepping back, bones stacking through the arms. Exhale, rock forward, lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Once you come all the way to the belly, your hands are going to slide out in front of you. You're going to lift and lengthen your leg bones back, and then rise to locust, Superman style. Notice all the weights on the abdomen here. And this is where you're doing your deep belly breaths. Every inhale, you should feel yourself rising up slightly. Every exhale, descending slightly. Now bring your hands under the shoulders, curl the toes under, pluck the knees off the floor, gaze towards your mat, shoulders crank back, elbows squeeze in, pull the navel in towards the spine, defy gravity, come up plank, and then exhale back, downward facing dog. Line up your feet properly so there's only about 4 inches in between the big toes. Now that we're here, we're going to inhale, step the left foot forward and up between the hands or close thereof. The right heel is going to spin down, and you're going to lift your hands up and come to stand. Now make sure your right toes are turned more towards the long side of your mat. Float your arms up shoulder height. Turn your left palm open. Inhale, left arm up, right arm back. Exhale, press back into your right hip. Come down over the left shin and form triangle pose, Trikonasana. All right, root those feet. Inhale, we're coming back up. Old school version triangle. Exhale, lengthen through the underside of your ribs. Bring the hand down and the right arm skyward. Triangle. All right, one more. Inhale, raise the feet. Cartwheeling up. And cartwheeling down. Once you're here, try to stack the shoulders. Try to roll open through the barrel of the chest. Maybe gaze up if it doesn't strain your neck. Affirming energy and joy flow down to me. Now go ahead and turn your gaze down towards your left foot. We're going to lunge that knee a little bit. You can use blocks or your hands to hop the right foot over, to turn the toes now towards the short front side of your mat. Ground that whole foot. Drive the right hip forward towards the front wall, and then drive your left thigh and hip towards the back wall. So you're squaring off through the hips, through the sacral area of the back. You can choose to keep the spine elongated, or yogi's choice to drape and release over the front leg. Hold and breathe. Inhale, lift the head up. Exhale, start to lunge the knee and wiggle the right toes back behind until you lower the back knee to the floor. Now in this position, you don't necessarily have to use blocks, but they may be helpful, okay? So we're starting in the half lunge like we did in the warm-up, but we're gonna move it into half split, half Panavanasana. But we're gonna coast back and forth between the poses. So the inhale will bring us forward to the sole of the foot, the head will lift. Exhale, the leg will straighten and we can bow. So move in sync with your breath, not rushing it. Slow, smooth transitions. So if you know anything about Hanuman, who that pose is named after, he had great speed, he had great strength. He was a great devotee. He took leaps of faith. All right, once we return to the sole of the left foot, we're gonna plant the palms on either side, curl the back toes under. We're taking a vinyasa, stepping into our plank position, rocking forward, lower down to chaturanga, come all the way down to the belly. Slide the arms out in front. Rest on the pubic bone and abdomen, but fly up through your limbs, head, and heart. And then the hardest part is to breathe. Because we're resting on the diaphragm muscle, which helps to control the vacuum effect of the breath. If you know another back bend that you prefer, you can take it. Exhale, hands under the shoulders, curl the toes under, lock in your arms for chaturanga to build to plank. So when you're ready, float the belly up. Slowly come to plank position, exhaling, downward facing dog. Reset your feet, reset yourself. Inhale, right foot's gonna step forward and up towards the hands, doesn't have to be perfect. Roll down your back foot, float your hands up, come to stand. All right, arms up, shoulder height. Turn the right palm open, sail it up. Breathe into your right side body. And then exhale, keep that right side elongated as you tilt forward and down, triangle. Inhale, bringing it up. Exhale, triangle. One more. Power of three. Hold it here. Maybe roll open a bit more if possible. And casually looking towards the right foot, bending that knee to bring the hands down to blocks or floor, offsetting the left foot, turning the toes forward, pressing through the back heel, straightening out the front leg. And then once you have your sacrum set, you can keep the spine elongated or you can fold. One is not better than the other. But if your knees feel soft, if the front of your thighs are soft, you're only doing the stretch. And that's okay if that's all you want. But most people need the blend of strength and stretch. So if you really utilize your feet here, you're gonna find the kneecaps grip and lift, and the quads contract and get more defined. Now let's lunge that front knee, wiggle the left toes back behind. And this is where we're gonna lower the back knee, shin, and foot down to the floor. Feel free to utilize blocks or not, your choice. But the heart and the head lifts in the lunge this time versus being over. And then we walk it back, lifting and jutting the toes in the air, staying on the center of the front heel and bowing over the leg. And then just shifting back and forth. Take your time to experience each one, even if you have a favorite. Usually the ones we vert away from or deter away from are the ones we typically need.
More. All right, when you're ready to roll down to the sole of that foot, we're gonna continue. So we're gonna tuck the back toes under. We're gonna step into our plank position. Roll down to your chaturanga. This time, inhale to upward facing dog. So the hips are off the floor, the arms are nice and strong. Exhale, draw in through the navel center, rock and roll back. All right, we're gonna keep this going. Inhale, let's step both feet forward and up between the hands, lifting up halfway on the right. Exhale, release over and down, closing in like you're trying to fold in half. Inhale, root the feet, sweep the arms to your sides and up. You can stay here, Urdhva Hastasana, chin parallel to the floor, or you can open up your throat and gaze towards your hands, upward worship. Exhale, let's continue. Diving over Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga, low push-up. Bring it on down, down, down to the belly. Now, if you want another back bend, feel free to take it. Otherwise, join me here in locust. Strengthening the back. Toning the limbs. Strengthening the diaphragm muscle. Exhale, hands down, feet down. You can roll back to down dog, or you can come up through plank for more strength, and then return to downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna change it up a little bit here. So the inhale, we're gonna step the right foot forward and up. Exhale, spin down to the back foot. Bring the hands up. Open the arms. Stretch over the front leg. Windmill down, triangle. And you may notice you might can lower that hand more so than it was initially. But be cautious with that inner right thigh. All right, we're gonna work the core a little bit more. So squeeze in the belly. As you bring the left hand down, follow that gaze with your hand, Hasta Drishti. Once you turn your gaze and hand down, you're gonna inhale, bring the arm back up. Exhale, slow execution. Feel the back intercostal stretch, work the side obliques. Inhale, return yourself up. Exhale, wave it down. Last one. Inhale, back overhead. Now take that top arm across the ear. Feel that stretch from your left hip through the fingertips. Look down towards your right foot. Lunge the right knee. Bring the hands down. Spin off your back heel. Now, if you can't quite straighten the front leg, this is where blocks are going to come in handy. You can also try being on fingertips to straighten the front leg, but either way is fine. Square the hips, so roll the left hip my direction. Just looking rather and checking your all alignment, good. Now that the pelvis is aligned, lunge the knee, look out with your eyes. Good, and we're rock back and forth. A standing form of Padmanasana split, and then a lunging of the knee. Right, and we're just rocking back and forth between the two. One is taking you, or part of the breath, so the inhale's taking you to one and the exhale's taking you to the other.
The next time you come back to the lunge, the hands are gonna be down so that we can step through plank. Exhale to chaturanga. Come on down to the belly unless you want a different back bend. Performing locust. Try not to hold your breath here. Exhale down. You can roll up and back through down dog, or you can come up strong through plank. Eventually we'll meet in downward facing dog. Gaze in the direction of that space between the toes, the Padayura or Grand Drishti. Inhale, left foot steps through. Back heel turns down. Hands come up. Set up for triangle. Lengthen out. Fold it in. So the left hand can cup the shin or the hand can be placed ahead of the shin. Either way. The hand opens a little bit more challenging. All right, exhale, wave that right hand down towards your front foot. Take your time with it, feel the other muscle groups being incorporated into this activity. Nice and slow, slow and steady. Next time that right hand flies overhead, you're going to stretch that arm across the ear. Feel it from your right hip moving out through the fingertips. Turn your gaze down towards your left foot. Bend that knee to bring the hands down to frame it. Pick up your back heel, turn to the back ball of the foot. See if you can straighten out the leg. If it's a little shy of that, use your blocks. Turn your right hip more in my direction. You got it. And then we'll start to flow back and forth between those two asanas. So all of this is prepping us for the full split. We'll get there eventually. Last one. Last vinyasa here. We'll take it through up dog. So once you drop towards your chaturanga, inhale, bloom up. Exhale, rock and roll back. Inhale, let's gather the feet to the top of the mat. However you want to arrive is fine. You can step, lunge, or float the feet together, Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, release. Inhale, come all the way to the top. Exhale, let's continue. Now this flow is where we're going to be doing what I demonstrated earlier. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down. Arms stretch out. All right, this time, inhale, right arm, head, chest, left leg lifts. Exhale, release. Inhale, left arm, head, chest, right leg lifts. Exhale, release. Alternate sides. Up on the inhale. Down on the exhale. It's like the swimming form of locust. Last set. Coming up and through to downward facing dog. Whatever will take you there. If your strength is starting to tucker out, you can even come through tabletop. All right, here we go. Left foot's gonna step through. Back heel turns down. All right, while you're here, close to the edge of the mat, if you know you're gonna use a block, set it up where it needs to be. Outside of the pinky toe, way ahead of the foot, and then float the hands up. We're gonna get there with the triangle. So once you open up your arms, your torso's turned towards the windows. Good, lengthen out, fold down triangle first. Okay, from triangle, go ahead and bring your right arm towards the back wall, past the hip, circle it down towards your left foot. All right, now you're looking down, lunge the left knee, stack the hands so that when you continue to sail the right arm forward and up, you're rolling your trunk open towards the windows. See if it's in your range to take a hold of your back foot with your right hand. Look down towards the floor. Release the hand from the foot. Bring the right knee under the belly and catch that shin with your hands as you fold and look down. Bend the left knee, shoot the right leg back, hands down. Woo. Fun, right? Left foot plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to locust. And then swim here, staying lifted. Similar to what we did earlier, except we're stepping it up. Feel the glutes. All right, hands under the shoulders. I'm sweating.
Yeah. You're not alone.
All right, up through plank. Or table. Back, downward facing dog. Woo, second side. Right foot forward. Back to lowers. Hands hovered. Come to stand. Whew. Arms lift. Lengthen out. Bring the hand down. I just realized we didn't set up the block. But that's okay. You can look down and you can find your block. And if you want to bend the right knee, set it up from here, you can. Sorry, I missed that step. All right, left arm back. Turn it down towards the right foot. Clockwork it in front of you. Balance on the right hand. Eventually lifting the left arm, rolling open towards the side wall. Be here if this is all you can manage. Or see if it's possible to take your back foot. Sugar cane. From sugar cane, let go of the foot. Cautiously tuck the knee under the belly. Catch the shin with your hands. A version of Padangusthasana C. Put a bend in the right knee. Shoot the left foot back, hands down. One more vinyasa here, stepping into plank. Exhale, low push up. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Breathe. Inhale, let's bring the feet to the top of the mat, however you want to arrive. Exhale, lower the head and heart. Inhaling up. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Right. The sun cells are complete. We're going to move into balancing, then we're going to come back to the floor. Okay. If this transition is like too much for you, I remember the first time I did it, it was in Nashville, and I was like, what are we doing? So if you feel that way, come up and get into it in the modified way. holding your knee, okay? So let's just try it this way. Hands to prayer. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, humbly fold. All right, so what we're gonna do is loop the first two finger, the peace mudra, around the right big toe. The left hand is gonna stack on the left waist. And as we start to come up, we're bringing the right foot with us. Padagustasana A. You can choose to be here, or you can bend the knee, catch the foot, stay folded, re-straighten, Padagustasana C. Just a choice. And release. We're gonna stay on the right side. Plant your left foot, broaden the base of that foot. Right arm behind your back, palm opens out into the room because you want to catch the big toe side. Dancing Shiva. Left arm up. Coming up. And release. So when we get to that dancing Shiva part, that's when we can call on, or that's the representation of how to reprogram the neural plasticity. Get rid of the negative thoughts, get rid of the negative energy. Dump it all, okay? Hands to prayer. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. All right, here we go again. First two fingers around left big toe. Why do these classes always seem so ideal on Sunday and then I get to Monday and I'm like, why is this so hard? Right hand to the hip. Landing line through the right leg. See if you can bring the left foot with. I need to reprogram my Monday thinking. Or transition to Padagustasana C. Release. All right. Ready to bring it back down? Me too. Have a bolster and blocks beside your midpoint of your mat, please. Because you never know what you're gonna need for the splits. All right, here we go. Hanumanasana time. Hands to prayer. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Did we do dancing Shiva? Thank you. I was like, something's weird. Sorry. Back up. My bad. All right. Right foot lands down. Left hand opens up. Catch the big toe side. Dancing Shiva is really important for this practice. Coming up. Now fold. All right, here we go. Inhale, back to plank. Down to the knees. All right, remember what we did earlier? Right foot steps through. We started this in our whole warm up, right? This is why. All right, so you're super Gumby. Do you do regular splits?
I think I do it on the left, but not on the right.
Okay, cool. So if you already know, flexible, I can go to splits. You can rock back like we did earlier, slide the foot out, and you can have your hands holding you up.
Oh, I
You
can
can
do it.
also have, see, yes, or blocks holding you up. But this is the, I don't know, I like this way better. Having the bolster here And you can also, stack the block under the bolster. And you want to try to see if it's possible for the hips to be facing forward. I know it's a lot. Use your hands, use your arms if you need to, and if you need to come out, definitely come out. But my point in showing you this way is that you can free up your upper body, right? You can rest in it, and you can do back bends, and you can do forward folds, and kind of some fun stuff. All right, the tricky part, get out, is you push through the hands, slide the front foot towards you, and back to table. Yeah. All right, left foot forward. Yeah, and like Renee said, she could actually do it on both sides, but it's very possible you're gonna have much more limberness on one side versus the other. And I think this is the side for me too, but I don't know yet. Yeah, see this side, I don't need the block, I just need the bolster. So you may need all of it, and that's okay. We're not trying to be a wishbone, we don't want to break, right? We don't want to tear anything. So stay connected to your body, stay connected to your breath. If you start to feel panicked, if you start to hold the breath, just come on out. It's not worth injury. Ahimsa, ahimsa, ahimsa. Non-harming, non-injury, non-violence. Operate with compassion. When you're ready to come out, push through your hands. Left foot slides back. You can even draw up to the pelvic floor with that root block. Okay. Done with the peak poses. Let's come down to our backs. Let's catch the knees. All right, so take your arms out like a T. And you know how we circle the knees typically with our hands? I don't want you to use your hands. I want you to send your knees off to the left and then forward out into the room where the feet are still hovering, circle it over to the right, and then tuck it back in towards your chest. And then circle the other direction. And then come back to center, let the knees roll to the left. Take a supine twist. Try to stay on the right shoulder if possible. It's okay if it wants to hover a little bit, as long as you feel safe in it. It may be opening up some of that connective tissue on the front side. Breathe low into your belly. Good, draw the knees through center, carry them to the opposite side. If you did turn your head in the twist, feel free to turn it in the opposite direction. So I'll go ahead and tell you what I want you to do for our Shavasana, even though we're not there quite yet. Your task for today is something that really we should be doing every time we take relaxation. And that is allowing yourself to disengage from your body, but pay utmost attention to the mind. Noticing what thoughts are percolating or flowing internally. And then through your inner state of awareness,
bearing witness to it without judgment, to learn how your brain works, how you've been conditioned. What are the current neuron patterns that have created those deep grooves? And being in the question, is this helpful or harmful? Trying to reroute, trying to rewire the ones that are not in your best interest. Go ahead and unroll from the twist, hug the knees back in. And I want you to set up for Shavasana after this. So if you wanted the Stonehenge perhaps to elevate the legs, or if you wanted just to put a bolster underneath your knees. However you want to get comfortable. Give yourself permission to move towards a state of being versus doing. And we're having to align and to engage the body for the poses. But now we get to go to the more subtle level to bear witness to the underworkings of the mind. The second Yoga Sutra says Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the calming of the fluctuations of the mind. So allow that to occur as you bear witness and just breathe. Deep in the flow of our breathing. Know that you can always come back to this meditation. Next time you're here on the mat or later on home or outside somewhere. Let's activate the hands, feet. And begin exiting out of the pose that you chose. A safe way to come out when you're supine is to roll to one side, to push down to the top hand. Once you're sitting upright, close your eyes. Tune back into yourself. Draw your hands up to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart. Let this gesture seal our practice. Let it be a reminder to pay attention to our thought processes throughout the day. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let there be peace, peace, everlasting peace, and may we be an instrument of that peace. Thanks so much for being here, for participating. Took me a little over. I rattled on a little much in the beginning, and I wanted you to get the full hour of practice. It was a beautiful day.